Only my second page. What are you telling me about?
That's why I tape everything together.
I swear I just had. We'll find it. Okay, fine.
What's that?
With I Choose Love, you're just working from the lyrics, right? Because I don't
Choose-
which is fine. And
Do you, we can make a copy. Do you just need the lyrics is all you?
yeah, I mean, I have the lyrics here.
Let me make a copy real quick.
I'm sorry.
See if, that's fine.
Thank you.
I assume they have a copy of singing.
platform assistant for the day, and that's more yellow than I've ever seen in my life. I'm a blue-based person, not a yellow person, so I had to search. So I want to welcome everyone in the sanctuary and in our YouTube feed. And if there's anyone here for the first time, could you raise your hand? We have a packet of information. Oh, Sandy, it looks like we got a number of people today. Wonderful, welcome. The packet has information about Unity in general and Unity in the Gold Country. And so we welcome you. Also, Sandy Spurgeon, our prayer chaplain today, will be available for special service and prayer for people in the chapel after service, which is around to the left and the left again. And if you'd like an appointment with the Healing Circle group to pray for you for healing, there is a form on the table by the restrooms which you can fill out. And if you can also place prayer requests in the heart space of the wings hanging on our Christ candle. And we will begin by lighting our Christ candle. With gratitude, we gather as the unique expressions of the divine presence that we are. We pause to feel into this life force that invites us to be a creative partner with it. We now allow it to fully embody with our whole being. We also sense and feel the connection that exists between each one of us, the universal web of intelligence that we partake in as the human race. As we appreciate our web of connectivity with one and all, moving from a me to a we focus, we express our desire to unite with all humanity through the energy of compassion and kindness. We invite this energy to now rise up within us while extending outward to connect with Mother Earth and all sentient beings. This uniting spirit of oneness, of the one I am presence, we call the Christ. We light this candle now as a reminder that we are all blessed by being part of this one presence. It is the truth. Let us own it and make it real in our lives. Amen. And today we have Drew Tousley and Lindsley Schutz as our guest performers. And if everybody would stand and join in our song, God Makes Me Want to Sing.
I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. It makes me feel so good, I can do most anything.
I'm loving
Every little thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. We're all precious, no one less or more. We've all got the same treasure inside. No matter what comes, it always turns out right.
just dig down to how I feel. Just take a deep breath and drag the wheels.
I'm believing in my guiding light. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. It makes me feel so good, I can't do most anything. I am rising to my highest place. The wind in my back and a smile upon my face. Living my dream a little more each day. It keeps getting easier to find my way. As I'm rising to my highest place. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. It makes me feel so good, I can do most. Makes me feel so good, I can do most. Makes me feel so good, I can do most anything.
Please remain standing and greet your neighbor with a handshake, hug, or namaste.
Hi, neighbor. So after the meditation is when we do the next one. Yeah. Oh, you found it. God makes us want to sing and talk and hug and dance and celebrate. Wonderful energy. Thank you. Thank you for being here this morning on this beautiful autumn day. We're in our third week of our Transitions Fall program, and nature is leading the way. She's showing us how to do it, how to transition and let go. And it's been a challenging week in the world, hasn't it? And you know, the place that we hold here in Unity is the non-dual place. And that's a tough one sometimes, because we get reactive and we get pulled into stories and histories, and then we lose our perspective. So this morning, I really want us to hold space for the world and for both sides, if you will. And I came across a beautiful prayer written by Jeff Foster. Some of you may have seen this already. And it goes as follows. I pray. I pray for Israel. I pray for Palestine. I pray for all of us now. And if you condemn me for taking sides or judge me for not taking sides, then maybe you don't understand the depth of this love. Because love itself is the prayer, and the one who prays, and the longing and the light and the darkness and the answer. And so I pray for you too. for all of your conflicting parts, for all the children fighting within you. And I pray for you to know the consciousness prior to identity. I pray for you to know the I am presence itself. Before I am a Palestinian, before I am an Israeli, before I am Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, or an atheist, before division itself, before any notion of God or her absence, before time, before all of this began, before the world, the joy and the sorrow of living, before territory and history, I am what you are. I am your rage, your grief, your loneliness, your fear, your vulnerable heart, your powerlessness, your shaking. And through these non-dual eyes, perhaps we can finally love each other in spite of our beliefs, in spite of our ancient rage and our lust for revenge, in spite of religion, in spite of what the holy books tell us to think. You are my brother, my sister, my child, my mother, my father. I pray for love to permeate the world before it's too late. I pray for awakening. I pray for Palestine. I pray for Israel. Before it's too late, I pray for all the children, all the babies, all the mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends and enemies. I pray for an end of hostilities before it's too late. I pray for all those who are scared right now. I pray that our small prayer helps in some way, even in some small way, even in some tiny way. I pray for you. I pray for me. I pray for us. I pray. And that prayer really sums up what it is to be a unity person. And so in that place of oneness of consciousness, we continue then to pray for all those who are on our prayer list who have asked for our prayers this week. We pray for Carla Salazar, for Alexander the Grass, who is really healing beautifully, for the passing of Jaden, his friend, and his families, Zach Zahler, Ellie White, Tammy Hill, Richard Anderson, Sharon Folsom. We continue to pray for Claire and the Palmerino family, for Jen and Cameron Court, Russell Wheeler, Walt and Sharon Watson, Jacob Peskin, David Kirshner, Pam Darren, Katie Maluli for her continued healing, Robert Keelahan, Carol Ann Wilshusen, Ruth Ellen Braun, Dolly Koziris, Carol Arbini, Brian Brogren, Myra Gifford, and we pray for all in Israel and Palestine, the Ukraine, and all those experiencing natural disasters. For who else do we pray, if you would like to say their names out loud at this time? Betty. And so we sum up our prayers, as always, in this beautiful unity prayer together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well. So we listen now to the daily word for today.
Today is generous. The abundance of the world flows through me. I am securely in the flow of prosperity when I receive graciously and gratefully and share my abundance generously. Whatever I share with a loving, giving heart blesses me as much as it blesses the one who receives it. Each time I share my supply, I am demonstrating my trust that I will always have what I need. When I share of myself, I am living my faith that I am a divine being empowered with a limitless supply of divine ideas. The richness of an abundant universe flows through me. Knowing this, I don't hesitate to be generous, so others will know the abundance of the world as I know it. Through my giving, may they also know the blessings of the awesome power and grace of God as they bless me daily. From 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 12, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed upon us by God. The abundance of the world flows through me. Please say that with me. The abundance of the world flows through me.
So we enter into a time of meditation now. I invite you to be comfortable in your seat. If you want to close your eyes, you may. And so we set our intention for this meditation that we would be a conduit of compassion and love. If you like, just become aware of the breath in and out. And as you breathe in, hold your attention in the heart center. Feel the energy and the power of your heart, the intelligence of your heart. And with each in-breath, feel your heart expanding with love and compassion. And with each out-breath, extend the love and compassion outward around you. And simply use the rising and the falling of your chest as a pump to extend love and compassion. And now believe, imagine, sense that you are a conduit of infinite love and compassion, coming from Source itself, and extending to every aspect of life, every form on the planet. And allow or recognize that we are all doing the best we can with the beliefs and the feelings that we have and our worldviews. And acknowledge that it's easy to point the finger, that others don't seem to be doing their best or playing fairly. But let that go and just have compassion for everyone, all those triggered right now, who really just want to feel safe and blessed. And staying connected with that love and compassion, let it erase your own judgments, where you would withhold from others or try to distance yourself. and instead let love and compassion flow to all forms of life equally. And perhaps you can feel the restorative nature of being love. Knowing that this love and compassion will find its way to do its work through us, as it is designed to do. And so we simply align as a conduit or a channel to source energy. And we let it flow fully and freely through us with no restrictions and no reservations. And notice how compassion and love melts away all the mental constructs, and we rest in kindness, in gratitude, in appreciation, in understanding, and in forgiveness. And note how our hearts are made for this. How easy it is for our hearts to do this work. Only our willingness and intention is required. Thank you for blessing our world with compassion and love. You can remain in this silent, quiet place, or you can join in singing our community song, How Can Anyone Ever Tell You?
We're going to do something a little different with this. We'll do a couple of verses, and then there's a little interlude thing called a descant that we're going to do. And the lyrics to that, they're not going to come up on the screen, are "You are beautiful, you are a miracle." And so we'll do a couple of verses, one of those, another verse, and another one of the descants. So just to mix it up a little bit, keep you on your toes.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone ever notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
You are beautiful.
You are beautiful. You are a miracle. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less less than beautiful. How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
You are beautiful.
You are beautiful. You are a miracle.
Thank you for that. I noticed that touched some people's hearts. Yeah. So we're in week 3 of our fall study program on the book Transitions. And there's a quote from the preface of the book that I want to share. He says, "In other words, change is situational. Transition, on the other hand, is psychological. It's not those events, but rather the inner reorientation and self-redefinition that you have to go through in order to incorporate any of those changes into your life. Without a transition, a change is just a rearrangement of the furniture." So I bring that back again this week to sort of keep that fresh in our mind, because that's one of the key points of the book. And this week we're looking at transition and relationships. And probably the most painful and challenging part of life are the relationships that we encounter in our life journey. If we look at what the world is going through right now, it's all about relationship or lack of relationship. And we start, of course, with the relationships that you didn't choose, or perhaps you chose them before you came on the planet, and you've forgotten about that. Namely, your family and my family. And as we say, you're kind of stuck with them, at least for the first 18 years or so, right? You can make decisions after that, but you're pretty much stuck with them in the beginning. And as we know, these can be some of the most traumatizing relationships that we get to deal with in life. Some people have horrific experiences in their families of origin. Patterns get laid down that color our ability or lack of ability to relate in a healthy way. And along with the reality of our own personal family, then there are the depictions on TV, particularly, of the ideal family. Just think back to your childhood and the TV families that you got to watch every week. Father Knows Best, Ozzie and Harriet. And you probably compared your family to theirs, didn't you? And you did it probably in a negative way, because your family didn't quite match what you saw on TV. I like the author's statement that families are really people in motion. And now think of a kaleidoscope with as many parts as there were people in your families. In my case, there were 10 of us, my parents and 8 children, all spinning around each other, right? And now imagine that inside of each person there's also a kaleidoscope with our various moods and our feelings and our whatever development stage we were going through. And you have this mobile that's continually shifting and responding to everybody else on there. There are a lot of moving parts. in society, while everyone wants to have a long-lasting marriage, we know that it doesn't always turn out that way. Many marriages are only held together by fear or guilt or shame, as people hobble along to avoid the big D of divorce. Because nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to think of themselves as a failure. And that's especially true when it comes to our intimate relationships. Relationships are challenging, we can all agree. Yet it is the theater or the stage for our discovery of ourselves and of others. It's how we learn what to be human is all about. And from our earliest days, we explore the me versus you, the other, me and we, all of these different dimensions of life, and how does me and you blend together. We get to explore learning how to love ourselves and others while managing the normal conflicts that arise because of our own desires and other people's desires that conflict with ours. We get to learn about empathy, compassion, kindness, consideration. This is how we learn all those things. And we learn about the golden rules of the major religions that encourage us to think outside the box of our own minds. We learn through relationships to become aware of other people's opinions, their desires, their feelings, and to take them into account as much as we do our own. It is through relationships that we find ourselves, who we are, and what our place in life is. You think about how your career came about. You were probably influenced by some person that you admired and thought, I'd like to do that. That looks like something fun or interesting. And of course we know it's not a perfect landscape. Much of our learning is really by trial and error when it comes to relationships. Kind of like learning to ride a bike. You're probably going to fall off a few times before you get that balance. And we explore intimate relationships and our sexuality with the hope of finding a compatible life companion or partner. In the past, exploration before commitment was frowned upon and even punished. And if we look at life generally, we see that this is very much out of step with all arenas of our lives. Why have we made this so different? You spend years educating yourself, preparing and practicing before you launch into a career. You don't practice being a doctor on day one, hopefully, or a lawyer, without learning stuff, without, really practicing. And so much of the lore and mythology of fairy tales around relationships give totally unrealistic expectations, don't they? Prince Charming. And it becomes this whole thing that dazzles you, and you believe that this is how it's meant to be and it's going to be. Romantic love is probably one of the most toxic influences on married life. I'm speaking personally, I can say, And religion hasn't helped much in this area either. It's added so much pain and suffering on top of that human experience of the challenge and the difficulty and the brokenness sometimes of relationships. And we just get judged, don't we, so often by religion. So how we navigate from the single life to partnered life isn't always ideal. People get thrown together at an early age when they don't have a whole lot of experience or ego strength or, a whole lot of ability to deal with challenge. And they're expected to manage a whole new way of life in a day. And of course, we bring our family of origin with us, don't we, into our new homes. And we bring those patterns and the issues to this new relationship. When you stop to think about it, shouldn't all or most of our education in high school have been geared towards helping us to learn about relationships instead of math and science and whatever? I'm not putting those down. They have their place. But why weren't we given an education about relationships and partnership and what all that entails? Because there's nothing in life that will demand our attention and our time as much as our relationships, right? And if we didn't get great modeling from our parents, we're hardly going to hit the ground running, are we? Or be well placed to succeed. And so the author emphasizes beginnings and endings. And where do we deal with those most but in our intimate relationships? The change required of us around this is immense, but even more so in terms of the demand for a transition each time there's an ending. And we have to give ourselves that space then that he talks about, the neutral space, before jumping in to the next relationship. Because there's a time of healing that's required. Otherwise, we're more than likely just going to repeat the same thing over again. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And so we muddle along then with our unprocessed feelings and experiences. And now add on top of that the self-exploration around the meaning of life that you're doing while you're in these relationships, about who you really are. You know, people sometimes are so caught up in that first level of exploration of the ego, they never spend any time at the deepest level of change that we can explore, namely our self-realization, capital S, the discovery of our true self, of that I am presence that we talk about. And when you consider the amount of time that we spend working on the ego, it seems again that there's an imbalance. We don't have or spend as much time looking to discover that deeper self. The author, Bridges, has a checklist for people in relationship in transition. And I know that some of you here this morning are in transition. You have just lost a partner, had a relationship breakup, or it may be a couple of years and you're still dealing with it. And he says the first thing is to take your time. Your commitment either to the old situation that you haven't yet left, or to the new situation that you haven't yet become invested in. That will be somewhat provisional for a while. And so we need to take time. The second is to arrange, he says, temporary structures. You need to figure out ways of going on while the inner work is being done to establish the new. The third is don't act for the sake of action. You know, sometimes it's like being on a hot plate. You feel, I must do something to move on. Well, no, that's not necessarily good. Frustration with the temporary situation may push us to make decisions quickly, but remember that time is required to get insight and clarity about what should come next. And fourthly, he says, take care of yourself in little ways. In a time of transition, be gentle with yourself and drop all those high demands that you often place on yourself. If you're a 1 on the Enneagram, don't be so perfectionistic. It's okay. You don't need to get everything right away or do things perfectly. Cut yourself some slack. Fifthly, explore the other side of change. Now, this is interesting. He says, it's especially true if you didn't choose the change. You're probably in a place of resistance, right? Well, what he means is, well, look at what the silver lining might be like just move away from that upset and anger and resistance. What are the possible benefits or opportunities that could be arising right now, even though you didn't want the change? And even if you did want the change, you can second guess yourself and not want to admit the hidden cost of the change. You know, you can say, well, I chose this, therefore it's fine. When secretly, you may be in a lot of pain still about it. Sixthly, find someone to talk to. Problem shared is a problem halved. We have lots of little sayings like that. You can go to a professional counselor, a minister, or a good friend, and they can be a sounding board to help you through the transition. What you need most is a listening ear, where you can sound out your dilemmas and your feelings and tentatively probe what might be next. Seventhly, think of transition as a process of leaving the status quo, living for a while in that fertile time out that he talks about, and then coming back to the answer. So remember again the process. Things end, then you spend a time in no man's land, and then there's a new beginning. And so a time of transition is a time of inner renewal and transformation. And that's the important piece that we want to get down. We want to be renewed, we want to be transformed. So let's not rush into the process. You know, again, nature gives us wonderful examples. You can see how slowly the leaves are falling off there. And then suddenly they'll let them all go in one evening. And then you go through that winter where it looks like everything is dead, there's no life, it doesn't feel very appealing. And yet, down the road, we know that the buds are going to appear, and the flowers will bloom, and the fruit trees will blossom, and we'll enter into, again, a time of harvest, of plenty. And of course, there's always, isn't there, the caterpillar. While cocooning, looks pretty messy, yeah? And yet, those imaginal cells are busy in there doing their thing, taking their time, however long, until the butterfly breaks loose. So that's my wish for all of us, that we will give ourselves that time and space. Thank you. And so we have this time in our gathering again this morning to be keenly aware of ourselves as Source. We are Source. The divine, as us, expresses itself in plenty. And so, if you have your love offering, I invite you to place it over your heart. If you're giving with someone, hold hands. And just again, feel into the flow, feel into the source, the river of plenty that each one of us is, that is contained inside of us. And so as we give, more than anything else, be aware of that flow through you and as you, and enter into gratitude as we give. Together. Prosperity flows to us and through us in unending streams of plenty. The inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. The words of Charles Fillmore, our founder, that we make our own and live. We now have another community song, or solo song.
This song is by Gloria Estefan. She was in a horrendous accident at one time about 30 years ago. A semi-truck hit their tour bus. She was sleeping. Her back was broken, They had Operation Steel Rods inserted and all this, and she was in a real down period for a while. Instant transition, you might say. And so she wrote this song as she was kind of coming out of that period. It's called Coming Out of the Dark.
Why be afraid if I'm not alone? Though life is never easy, the rest is unknown. And up to now for me it's been hands against stone. Spent each and every moment searching for what to believe. Coming out of the dark, I finally see the light now, and it's shining on me. Coming out of the dark, I know the love that saved me, and you're sharing with me. Starting again is part of a plan, and I'll be so much stronger holding your hand. And step by step I'll make it through, I know I can. I may not make it easier, but I have felt you near all the way. Coming out of the dark, I finally see the light now, and it's shining on me. Coming out of the dark, I know the love that saved me, and you're sharing with me. Stand on the rock of your love, and ever stand on the. Can't nobody stop me, watch me forever and ever. Stand on the rock of your love is all it takes. No matter what we face, I finally see the light now, and it's shining on me. Coming out of the dark, I know the love that saved me, and you're sharing with me. Oh, coming out of the dark.
We have blessed these gifts in our hearts, and now we dedicate them to the work of unity here and worldwide. Thank you, God. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So today we're going to acknowledge our volunteer of the month, and that is Kelly Garmar. So Kelly, if you can come on down. And Kelly has written, I've been coming to Unity since 2010, and little by little, year by year, the people I've met and the wisdom that has been shared with me has improved the quality of my life substantially. I love being a volunteer for the way it has deepened my feeling that this place is my home away from home. And this community is an extension of my family. So you get to see Kelly on the first Sunday of the month when she sings and plays, and we all know what a rock star she is since her concerts that she's done here. But she's up there in the booth running live stream today on the third Sunday of the month and every third Sunday. But you know, one of the most beautiful things that she brings us is her infectious smile. And we all get to benefit from that. So we really love you and we bless you and thank you for being such a wonderful volunteer.
Thank you.
All right, get back upstairs to your job. Okay. And so we have, oh, that's right. We have to wait for her to get up the stairs for the slides. Well, I'll mention that 2 Sundays' time, we will have the memorial for Jay on October 29th, right after the Sunday service. There's going to be something a little different about that memorial, so please read your e-bulletin and respond to us, to Leslie, and let us know if you will be attending the memorial. So save that date right after service on October 29th. And then we have the season of Halloween. Are there witches, and why are witches associated with Halloween, and where does the word witch even come from, and what about the Inquisition? Come find out. We have a lady who is an expert. She's written a book on this, Alana Cash, and she will be speaking on this subject on Saturday, October 28 at 1 p.m. The reason it's at that time is our schedule is so full that literally, between this weekend and next weekend with the beautiful art gallery that we have here, so we have it on that day for that reason. And then that evening, we will have the Dances of Universal Peace with Ellen Fitzhall and Sofia Ramirez. This is a wonderful international practice. It's associated with the Sufi community especially. And it will be from 6:30 to 8 p.m., again, that same Saturday in the evening, October 28th, and we're asking for a donation of $15 for that, but no one turned away. And no experience necessary. I've done this. It's beautiful, it's simple, it's easy. It's kind of like folk dancing. It's really nice. So if you want to come out in a very safe environment to dance with your friends, please do. And as you saw perhaps when you came in today, we're part of the open studio tours. And we have, I think, 8 artists with works on display right behind the screen in all of the rooms. So please don't leave today without going into every single room and looking at your fellow congregants who have an amazing selection of art on display, photographs, paintings, what else? Bowls, wooden bowls, rugs, wall hangings. Really, take the time. I mean, it's right here, folks. You have to travel around to all the different artists' homes to see these things, and you have 8 right here, so please, have a look. And the energy healing clinics will take place on November 12th. We have sessions at 2, 3, and 4 p.m. Again, if you don't know what this is, you can have a look at the table back there. You can sign up for different practitioners, or you can look in the e-bulletin. Also, Mary, there she is. You can reserve a session with her today. Not just with her personally, but with all of the practitioners. And again, our Change for September, October is partners in the English language learning. So if you put change in the basket, we will give it to them. All right, I think, if you, heads up, we are having a new members class, as always, in November. If you want to fill out one of the blue forms, you can, or you can go online and fill out that form now too. Thanks to Marlene. Okay, I think that's it for now. Remember that you are a powerful force for good, for love and compassion in the world, and the world really needs it right now. So do a little bit of extra meditating and prayer during this coming week for humanity. If you'd like to stand, and we will pray together our unity prayer. Together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is well. So we close with our I Choose Love.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Peace in our planet is growing because we choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. We choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. We choose love. We choose love. We choose love.
So there will be refreshments back in that corner. Everything is kind of pushed there. If you want to come back into the seating area, you can. But do